All right, let's review a little bit of what a series is. Remember, a series is just a sum of some sequence A sub n, and A sub n is kind of like a formula, and it could change with maybe n changing. An infinite series would go from some number, doesn't have to be 0, but all the way up to infinity. Now, we say that an infinite series converges if the limit of its partial sums like goes to some number. If it doesn't go to some number, then we don't know. So the partial sums we can denote as S sub n. That would be a1 plus a2. It's just the first term in the sequence. Because this is a sequence, when we put the summation on it, it's a series. Plus a3 all the way up until a n. And that is called a partial sum. Now, the way we can definitely, this is the way we define convergence or divergence of a series. If the partial sums, if the limit, I should say if. So we can say if the limit as n approaches infinity of the partial sums, if we can figure out a formula for the partial sums, and that exists and A equals some number s, then we can say the infinite series converges to S. That's the definition of convergence for an infinite series. This is the limit of the partial sums. That's if you can find a partial sum formula. This was most evident when we used telescoping techniques, or when we looked at telescoping series. We would write out the partial sums and then things would cancel out. We wrote all the way up to the nth term, and then we got a formula for S sub n. We took the limit of it as n approached infinity. That's a good. I'm not going to do another example for that, but you can go back and look at those examples. We were finding a formula for this, and then we took the limit of it just to see if it converged or not. So that's something that you can write down just to remind yourself. But what I want to talk about is what's called the nth term test for divergence. That's really important. It's pretty much the first thing that you should try when you're trying to figure out whether a series converges or diverges. You should do the nth term test for divergence. Because remember, this means we're taking each one of these terms and we're adding it together. That's it. That's what it means. So the nth term test for divergence is a test to, I said it already, it's a test to tell whether a series diverges. It doesn't tell you whether it converges or not. If the test, it tells you either, oh yes, this series diverges, or it tells you, I don't know, could diverge still, or it could converge. So like either it tells you one thing, or it's inconclusive. It's not one or the other. And this is an easy test to perform. It's the first tool that you should use when trying to figure out whether a series converges or diverges. And it's kind of like, I relate it to U sub, because U sub is a really simple tool that you can use for evaluating integrals. So this is kind of like just as simple as U sub, but you should always try U sub first because it's easy. And you should always try nth term test for divergence when you're looking at series, because it's easy. So let's look at what it is. So let's look at an example, and then I'll just do a bunch of videos where I have examples. Actually, let's stop this one, and we'll do examples for divergence in the next couple videos.